Welcome back. This is still the POLITY reaching you live from Abuja. I've been joined in the studio now by a guest to do some justice to the issues at hand today and the state of the nation. I've been joined by the National Coordinator of Green Assembly Initiative, is also a policy analyst, Mr. Duke Alamboye. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon.
And a happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year too.
It's good to have you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So how's it been for you coming into 2024?
Well, we give God all the glory. We appreciate His mercy that have led us to see 2024. I think we have a lot to talk about in terms of 2023. But we thank God we're in 2024 and the year has kick-started and the aspirations are on for ourselves individually and then as a nation.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's fair enough. So let's start at, as they say at the beginning, the president said a number of things or pointed out a number of issues in his New Year's speech. So maybe we'll start with something that was, we might say, conspicuously absent from that speech, which was the issue of the attacks in Plateau State, which had happened just some days before. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, particularly on our national dailies. We even have now that gunmen have killed one and kidnapped two in fresh Plateau attack, although completely unrelated to the initial attacks. What is your thoughts as regards this and how you feel things can be done differently in the new year that we've just begun now?
Well, first of all, let me appreciate the president to have taken the course to address the nation on the new year and re-ensuring Nigerians of the hopes and aspirations we are yet to see. I want to appreciate him for finding time to do that. And it's not also completely true that he didn't recognize the issues of insecurity in the country. Perhaps what you mean, he didn't pay more or direct, deliberate discussion as to the happenings in Plateau. Of course, but you have to bear with me that Plateau State is not the only state having insecurity issues at the moment. So citing Plateau State would have just also made it look like personalizing the issues of insecurity. The country is bedeviled with issues of insecurity, and I'm sure he addressed that in his statement. Be it as it may, one of the cankerworm today we faced in our economy is the issue of insecurity. In the north, in the south, east, southwest, middle, north, central, and all of that you can talk about. We've been faced with insecurity. I think the government has inherited this for the past administration. Even though we felt that last year, the government would have put more intensive effort to ensuring that the issues of insecurity is a thing of a past, we should also know and acknowledge the fact that it's not a one-off activity. That has several activities and as the orientation and implementations of laws and executions of expertise and methodologies into solving the issues of insecurity comes in. We must play hands in hands, holding hands with the government to see how we can solve these issues. That is why when I mean we, the youth constituency, we are seriously proposing this year. By February or so, we are really proposing working around the clock to see how we can have a stakeholders meeting. See, the constituency that are perpetrating these devices is even within the youth constituency, and you cannot be discussing insecurity without engaging the youths in communities, in town hall meetings, and what have you. The sensitization must go beyond that. And then I think the security forces should be more enlarged. There must be that inclusivity when it comes to insecurity, carrying the youths along so that we can deliberate and begin to brainstorm alongside with government and security agencies to see how we can solve these issues once and for all, or gradually as we take them off. What we see is, like somebody observed in a television station, that when it happens, you see the heads of security agencies come to meet the government, and then they say all they want to say, drink to the tunes of the issues, and then that is where it ends. Are we really practically involving ourselves in ensuring that we solve these issues? Are we posing threats to those people that are perpetrating these vices? These are the million-dollar questions. So we are really proposing for a national security summit where we all sit together. Youth leaders in the country will come sit together with security agencies, government functionaries, and see how experts can say truth to these issues. The willingness of government, we will know. The ability of the security agencies, where they even need assistance. Is it intelligence gathering? Is it physical participation? These are the things that we want to sit down in such conference and begin to discuss, because until we begin to make this issue of insecurity a national effect, we may not really solve it. If we begin to allow it to happen in state A, and then when it happens that we discuss what has happened in state A, when it happens in state B, we discuss what it will begin to escalate gradually. I can tell you that for the past 2-3 months, I think it has been a little bit curbed. We've not really heard of this sort of kidnapping and this thing, but I think they are testing waters. The perpetrators are beginning to test waters, and if government are not fixed enough to follow them in that measures, they will begin to see it as the day of the business of the day and begin to move into doing more and more. So this is the best time for us to come together, discuss this issue, provide more and better solutions to aid the security agencies. They are doing fantastically well. I heard that they've had some arrests in some places, which is very good, but we need to do more so that we can tackle this thing once and for all.
All right. You've pointed out something that I believe is almost becoming a consensus. A lot of people blamed intelligence gathering or exchange as part of what led to caused the Plateau attacks. And from what you're saying now, it's almost like you want the people, the young persons and the government to talk more, to speak more, so that there's no gap. But I'd like to get your opinion as what you think might have changed. Where did this intelligence gap begin to exist from? People speak about in the 90s or earlier, when men who worked with the DSS or the SSS would be undercover in communities, relating with the locals as if they were one of them, and feeding that information back and forth. And I wonder, does that not exist anymore? What led to this gap between the people?
There's a clear gap between governance and the people. Let me expatiate on that. In those days, people have confidence in even their local government, their local governance, such that they don't pay loyalty to any other person than when the state says A, that's what they do. When the local government says A, that's what the direction the people are going. Today we see that lacuna, that space between the people and governance. So anybody can come, as you are today, you can move into a community, bless the community abundantly as you want to do, and then they will begin to do your whims and caprices. So let's ask our question first of all, why are even communities not giving intelligence report when they experience visitors or strangers in their midst? So these strangers come into their midst, make them feel more comfortable. In fact, act as though they are the ones that are protecting them outside government, provide some social needs for those communities and settle down properly. An instance where in a community they give rent to people at the sum of maybe 50,000 naira, and then what they call a stranger comes in and is willing to pay 200,000 naira. Economically, the person is becoming more empowered by that visitor. So you do not also expect that visitor will want to, give out intelligence report, whatever the risk is. So a lot of awareness needs to be done, and a lot of support system needs to go into the communities, because they are really suffering. If you go down the far north where these things are happening, people are really suffering. So the people that you say they should come and report are the people that are also even helping out the community in terms of giving monies, providing survival. So it's beginning to feel like survival of the fittest. So they don't really have that zeal to report or give genuine intelligence to government or anybody that cares to have those information.
So can traditional rulers be part of this system?
Now, what I say community, it involves everybody. I still tell you something. Today, let's give it an experience. Let's give it a trial. We can move into a community, bless abundantly the community head. Give him money, provide food stuff for him, everything for him, and say, look, we are whatever, we've come to settle in your community, we are carrying out a certain project somewhere, and this community will take that assistance, financial or whatever assistance will render to them for the purpose of survival. And then you do not expect them to, in return, begin to report these persons to. So the gap between good governance and the people is also causing this all of a thing. And they don't know that this is also their own document, that afterwards there will be victims in the immediate casualty to these settlements and this arrangement they always have. So this is where I think there must be this deliberate discussion. Not only stakeholders are not only youths, but even the chiefs and kings in the country that matters will need to begin to talk to their colleagues, village heads, community heads, to see how we can, because nobody comes into the community and they say nobody knows that strangers are in the community. People know. In fact, some people aid them to settle down properly and show them areas of escape and all of that. So, but if there is adequate orientation, let me give you an instance of what has happened in Jos now. After today, into 7 days or so, the matter dies up. Nobody will do anything again. So there is no follow-up. There is no continuity in the fight for insecurity. But when you engage the youths properly, to make them see it as a job, a white-collar job that they are paid for, their duty is to give intelligence. If they are the ones that you want to recruit to ensure that they are also armed, you make them armed. And let us see 3 years, 2 years, engage them to see how they can, be co-opted by these people that are perpetrating this evil. So in some communities, they are not working, they are not doing anything. If a stranger will just come in, employ 70 or 60, almost all the youths in the community, paying them stipends, and then at the end of the day, you say they should come and give intelligence results. They may necessarily not do that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think is where the security agencies should begin to look into.
Yes.
But I don't know if you have any thoughts as regards, you mentioned how some of these outsiders can induce people with money. Yeah. We also know that Nigeria's security or defense budget has been on the increase, particularly with the last 8 years under President Muhammadu Buhari. Is there a different way you think these funds could be channeled that maybe the government might not have been creative about yet? Because we see the funds, sometimes we see them ending up with Nigeria getting some new equipment that we've not had before. We had our planes in the last year or two or so. Are there other ways you think this budget could be utilized?
Yes. Aside the purchase of sophisticated equipment to fighting insurgency or banditry or whatever, the orientation aspect of it is not being done. Proper orientation, community to community orientation, state orientation is not done. And this is where we have to be inclusive. We are the people that can carry out those jobs. We are the people that are very close to the communities. We live in the communities. We interact with our colleagues, right where these incidences are happening. So that is the only aspect I think that they've not engaged, such that like what happened in Kaduna some other time, that they blame the federal government, they blame army. I didn't blame army because the army people got good intelligence report and they hit the nail on the head. So these are the kind of things that we want to see. Apart from getting sophistications, and more recruitments should be done, local recruitments. People that are in the communities were recruited, train, see them as liaison partners, harm them, physical combating, and all of that. This is where they've not gotten it right, and that is where the problem is. That's why you can hear that in a far community they've raised down the whole community. It's not a military intelligence area. That is pure local settlement. You're not asking yourself a question: why are they not coming to the center city to do all of this? And that is because the center city is well equipped with informations, and in the case that there's a new or strange movement, people can quickly alert the system. Let them cite stations in those communities. Let the people feel the presence of government in terms of fighting securities, police stations, army stations, what have you, so that people can feel that, look, they may not necessarily be involved in this kind of a thing, rather they have the presence of government, that they can report those strange activities in their communities. This is the only thing I know that is lacking: constant engagement, orientation.
All right, finally on this note, the suggestions people are making about some sort of citizen-led or citizen-centered security outfit, perhaps something similar to what we're seeing in the Southwest with Amotekun, and so on. What do you make of that suggestion? particularly with the Chief of Army Staff saying recently that they are not going to allow citizens bear arms, as this might lead to anarchy.
Yes, I want to agree with you. As I want to agree with the Chief of Army Staff because Nigeria is too porous and is too political conscious, such that let them not begin to solve a particular problem and land into a worse problem. I think where citizens can come in is still under intelligence gathering and orientation. When citizens knows the best thing and what is supposed to be done, I am sure that it will guide their daily activities. But when they do not even know, thrown to options, they begin to take the one that make them survive daily or per day. So more orientation about insecurity, the different kinds of movements, the different kinds of precautionary movements, the different kinds of interventions that can be made. This is the time, this is the early time in this year we can begin to preach this using the tool, youth constituency, to preach this to their colleagues, to preach this to the state government, to preach this in the nation, that those things are not good and they are detrimental. The first casualty of those activities is even the community members. I think that is where we can go. I don't also agree that citizens or civilians should carry arms, but they must be involved in intelligence gathering. And you that are giving intelligence gathering, you must be protected. That's why I said stations should be moved down to communities, not only at these urban areas. The rural areas should now also have sophisticated stations that can man those forces. If a bandit begins to feel that a particular community gives intelligence, don't forget that they also come and attack that community. But if there is the presence of security agencies within that community or within those boundaries, I think they will fight it man to man.
Fair enough. That is the fight against insecurity. Let's move over now to the fight against corruption, particularly the NSIPA and the ongoing investigation. That's the National Social Investment Program Agency. I'll just read out a fact sheet here about what the EFCC has done so far. The cash that was moved from the NSIPA account is 44 billion naira. First recovery, 17 billion naira has been recovered. Second recovery, 13 billion naira. And outstanding being tracked, 14 billion naira. The EFCC says the 44 billion naira was suspiciously moved out of the account and sent to various private and corporate accounts. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Almost looks like a mission by the president, as that now we have the CBN governor, ex-governor, and the CBN as a whole still being investigated by a special investigator. We had the EFCC chairman, I believe, who was only out of detention maybe about a month ago. You know, we've been seeing the president making these moves. What do you make of it? Do you think it's an holistic approach at the last administration, or it doesn't matter whatever administration?
Well, I can tell you for free that if you check the body language of the president, you will agree with me that the problem presently they are having is scarce resources. That is basically...
You mean the administration?
This administration is facing a lot when it comes to funding. The economy is down because there is no money. The president is still showing his matured nation. The president is aware and acquaintance with what is happening in the country. He has lived all his life in this country, monitored and studied various administrations. He knows where to draw the T's. He knows where to dot the I's. The president we have today is not a dullard. He's not a walkover president. He is very, very intelligent. He is very, very vigilant. And he is aware. He has been part of the political system, economic system, and social system. There is no way you mention Bola Ahmed Tinubu from 16 or 20 years back that you will not mention his name per year in the activities of Nigeria politically, socially, and economically. So this is someone that understands. However, I think that he doesn't want to escalate issues. Rather, he is picking on where Nigerian funds are. He is aware. So instead of escalating and undermining the administration of a political party he belongs to, I think he is using his best methods to getting these funds. We all know that there are some people as we stand today, they are richer than Nigeria. And for goodness sake, they've not spent those monies anywhere. Those monies are hanging here and there. So I think the president is using deliberately an instrument of individual attack to get our funds back. If you want to trace the antecedents or the activities of the past CBN governor, you might be tracing into abusing or undermining the President Buhari's administration. So that is not where they want to go. They want to squarely deal with that man, see his excesses, curb it, and bring out our funds that are in his coffers. The same thing is happening to this what they call NSIPA, and their distance. Yes, lots of money went in, and I'm sure that by the time they begin to do all of this, we'll have lots of recovery in terms of financial value, so that the economy can start moving. The president does not believe in borrowing. He knows. I'm still repeatedly saying that he knows where all our monies are, and gradually he will look for them. He is not wish hunting anybody. He's trying to see how we can gather resources, other than going into intensive borrowing. We are already so indebted in trillions. So I don't think they would want to really toe that line. In as much as they would toe to get our feedback economically, they also want to see how they can trace internally what belongs to us and begin to pick them out. All we need is their support to getting this done. I support the president 100%, and his methods, the method is applying. Unfortunately for us, those persons we put there to fight corruption are the people dwelling and eating and dining in corruption.
Right. So the question now is, does it look as though whenever these things are being done, there is a conspicuous, or will I say a targeted approach to exclude the head from all of this? I mean this to say that if this number of persons under the Buhari administration had one issue or another, some persons say, why not just probe the administration as a whole? Why not go after the man himself?
That would be administrative sash. This, let me start from budget.
Okay.
When a budget of a fiscal year is presented and approved, the monies are allocated to executions. The executions are left in the hands of ministers and appointees. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Meaning that there's a direct spot where those monies are used. I don't think the president draws up the budget, the president approves the budget, and the whole money is disbursed by the president. That is not true.
But for the CBN issue,
now,
there have been reports almost seeming to blame, as at the last time, some relative of the president is being touted as the person who spearheaded the Naira, the redesign, and people are saying,
if the investigation
is on record,
yes,
saying himself that he did it. So
if the investigation, redesigning the currency is quite different from loot. They are two different things.
True.
In the process of redesigning the currencies, a lot has happened. So that is where the attention of the presidency of this government is. What has happened? Redesigning the currency is a different thing, which is an instrument of the presidency, but was it targeted as a loot? That is the $1 million question, and that is where they are. If you want to begin to probe the whole entirety of a government, you will be spending 4 years not even achieving anything. So I also understand that there is no information that the DSS do not have. There is no information that the FCC do not have. It's the ability to probe them correctly in the tenets of the Constitution and bringing out our money back. So I think that is the concentration of this government. Instead of probing holistically the President Muhammad Buhari's administration, which this government will also do because it's a party handover administration where APC handing over to APC. They wouldn't want to shoot themselves. And I also want to agree that it may cause lots of delays. The parameters and the investigation process may now delay administratively on President Buhari did that. By the time they will link it up to where money went and all of that, while they know where these monies are, I think it's the best approach the presidency is using to tackle and get back our stolen funds.
All right, that's fair enough. Let's speak on the budget. What are your thoughts on it? Particularly, some persons are making some noise about the increment of over 1 trillion naira and the budget. Is that anything to, pay attention to, or is it just another day in office for lawmakers and the legislature?
Well, I don't know why Nigerians are always emotional about these issues. For once, I know that when the budget went to the National Assembly, the duty of the National Assembly is also to critically look at the budget. Let us speak from the angle of removing emotions and treating. We are all crying that the economy should be buoyant. We are all crying that the economy should begin to revive itself. So if in their wisdom, they've looked at it and said, look, there are areas that we need to beef up financial strength or value to achieve desired goals. Well, I want to say that that is what the National Assembly had done. The major problem, whether they have induced or padded the budget or not, the major problem is the angle of execution. I don't want to be emotional about it. Even if they've added 4 trillion into this budget, what will they use with the whole budget? Is it going to be the normal business of the day? Budget has been approved, politicians begin to get enriched, or is it for sure that this budget start hope for Nigerians, is really going to bring hope for us? These are where the areas I want us to concentrate, not whether the budget has been padded or not. Even at 27 trillion as estimated, if they want to make good use of that money, they will. If they want to still own it for their personal gains, they will still own it for their personal gains. So where Nigerians should be concerned about is the budget execution. Is this money, this money is going to really go into the economy to stimulate the lives and earnings of Nigerians? This is where our thoughts should be.
All right, fair enough. We'll be paying attention to that and seeing how it's going. Journalists are already bringing out specific allocations and following how it will end up. So that being said, a lot is still going on. With the topic as it's written there is politics and governance.
Yeah.
We've spoken a lot on governance, and let's delve into politics. There's an argument going on now following a series of tweets by the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, where he referred to himself and the Labour Party as the main opposition, and other parties have come up. We saw the AAC of Omoyele Sowore saying, well, that's the Nigerians do not count you as opposition. We've seen, I believe others have also replied. I'd like to get your thoughts on that and the seats that the opposition is being put on right now. Some Nigerians feel as though enough is not being done. I believe the other day it was revealed that the PDP hasn't had, is it a NEC meeting for quite a while now? And these issues have all been rising. So I'd like to get your thoughts as to how you think opposition is or will continue to be in this administration.
Let me be with all form of honesty. I have not seen any political party, parties, 18, right? 17, apart from the ruling class. I've not seen any, both at national level, both at state level. I've not seen any opposition political party. What is opposition? When the Supreme Court or whatever level of court you're going to has exhausted your electoral matters, you position yourself where you criticize the ills of government, the bad policies, bad executions of government. That is when you are in opposition. You appraise government where they've done well, or a policy that is favorable, that is pro-Nigerians or pro the state. You are in opposition when you are also profiling alternative suggestion. If we were ruling, this is the route we would have taken. Don't forget, when elections are won and lost, we are all Nigerians. We suffer the brunt of the outcome of that government. We enjoy the outcome of the good deeds of that same government. We're all Nigerians. The level of criticism you give to a bad government projects you for the next election. So I can confidently say that I have not seen any political party, both the PDP, the APC, the Labour Party, the NNPP, they are all electoral seasoned men, election period political parties. The people I can categorically call oppositions are even the IOC, the non-governmental organizations that are beginning to get the serious awareness. Some lawyers like the human rights activist, what's his name, the one in Lagos,
Femi
Falana. These are the opposition people we are seeing in the country. The past president, Olusegun Obasanjo. These are oppositions we are seeing that will not keep quiet when policies and actions of government are beginning to go wrong. Past security agent heads that are talking to issues. Political parties, you see them come out when it is political. The issues of River State, PDP had come out. So say that is the only time. So let us not play to the gallery. These are the core the oppositions we are seeing in this country. Political parties have remained docile immediately after election petitions are ended, and you see them resurface in the third year of an administration, wanting to take power and begin to rule out all the bad things that government have done. Meanwhile, the economy has deteriorated. Meanwhile, social lives, earnings, and living standard of people have deteriorated for 3 years. You now come out to say that at the 4th year, you want to run for election. Then the man that is there that have done so much mayhem to the economy still use more money to take power from you. So I disagree both with my friend Chowore and the loud-mouthed Labour Party presidential candidate. They are doing nothing. They are not even in the country. They don't even know what is happening in the country. They should go and ask the human rights activists. They should go and ask what civil societies are doing in the country. The issues in River State. Look at how civil societies, group of persons are coming in. The political parties that are not saying anything. They are just stooges. None of the political parties are coming out vehemently to say no to this, or even in support of the minister or in support of the governor. None. People, religious leaders, religion leaders are the people owning up to the fight to ensure that there is peace. So what are they talking about? There is no opposition party in Nigeria. All we have is the APC ruling the state, making mistakes, correcting themselves, maybe small listening to people like us that are coming out to talk. I'm even a better opposition a person to even the political parties. They are not talking. They are not. In fact, they are well to do. They don't even mind what is happening in the country. That is the truth.
So does this mean you have, will I say, counter opinions to the aide of the PDP presidential candidate, former vice president, saying that he will be back in 2027 to lead opposition?
Who?
One of his aides has assured Nigerians that he will be back again.
Who will be back? He will be back, or Atiku will be back?
Former vice president.
Former president will be back. This is the time to come back. This is the mistake they do. This is the time to come back. You keep talking to bad policies. But you rightly cited in the PDP, even since after the elections, they've not been able to even hold neck meeting. So we should be patient. Nigerians should be patient, or should go alongside things getting deteriorated, or he will be waiting when this present government will begin to resuscitate the country and then begin to fight to see how they can make the Nigeria better. And when they've done 4 years, a little bit out of where we are, forward a little bit, and they are seeking for more 4 years to push this forward, that's why you now to say no, it will be truncated. That is not true. The time is now.
What do you make of the fact that the Labour Party presidential candidate was in Plateau the other day, commiserating with victims? No, pardon me, that's not the word. Trying to
criticizing government,
empathize with them. Although he does speak on social media, the PDP candidate has also spoken out in terms, I believe, during the NNPC saga and so on. Or do you think they should be doing more?
They should be doing more. We want to see them. The way we used to see them on television, on mainstream television, to talk to the issues. It's not social media activities. The way you invite me to your studio to talk about issues, they should be invited. They should be sitting down. That is the process of governance. That is what will give us confidence that, yes, indeed, they will be the right people to be voted for come 2027 or whatever year there will be election. It's not by doing eye service visitations. It's coming out to speak to those bad policies, those bad implementations, those areas that have been neglected, coming out to the main media fronts to talk about it. That is what we are talking about. That's when there is opposition. Hold rallies. The Labour Party presidential candidate should lead a rally against insecurity, against banditry. That's what Nigeria wants to see, so that he begins to prepare himself. The PDP presidential candidates, the PDP people, should come out and begin to hold rallies, go to the streets and tell Nigerians that they should be hopeful. In the next 4 years they will come. kicking against these policies, don't forget that will also give strength to the nation. People will not begin to feel too much emotional about issues, but prepare themselves for the best Nigeria can have. And then you direct the government policies. Now, once you take an action, profile solution, and the government of the day listens into that, and it is correct, the confidence is not on them, but it's on you that profile that solution. You cry out. This is the best way to solve insecurity. Government should listen. President Mohamed Tinubu, listen to these methodologies or this method of solving this. And once the government key into that and it is solved, you are the benefactor. You are the people who say that you are the lion. You are the main man to be in governance. Not until after 4 years, you say you come back. You come back to where?
All right, so I think you've made the point there. So finally, I'll just get your thoughts on this. It's just speculation. The NNPCL has debunked it that the price of PMS will not be increasing, despite reports that suppliers wanted it to be so 1,200. I'd like to get your thoughts on this whole saga, because the NNPCL is saying that subsidy was entirely removed. It wasn't reduced. As regards speculations, do you think we're out of the woods in terms of, the pains that the president said we might feel?
My brother, let us not talk about that. We should be glad that Port Harcourt refinery is set. And I hear by the end of this month or so, they will be producing about 16,000 liters per day.
But we've heard stories like this before.
Let those stories. You see, I kept telling you that we are always emotional about the other things. The fuel price want to reduce, but there's a speculation. Let me use the word speculation that Port Harcourt refinery. So people should rather be talking about, oh, Port Harcourt refinery wants to work, so that government will begin to say, oh, people are aware of what they're doing, though. Not the speculator, not the passive, not the negative one. It's high time we started holding up to positive thinking and positive actions in whatever that concerns our country. Look, they spent money. They have told us that, government have told us that Port Harcourt refinery will work. Dangote refinery will soon begin to produce whatever. That is what I want people to deliberate on, and begin to see how that can push down the cost for fuel and provide for equitable consumption in our fuel usage in the country. So I don't really want to talk about such speculation. Where I want to concentrate that, to God be the glory. The president has given us his word. Port Harcourt refinery is set. We are hoping that by January, any date in January, we'll see the pump out products from that one. We also see Dangote start giving out crude and all of that. This is the positive way we should be talking about, not we hear that. For the first time in the history of our country, December, the season period came, there was abundant fuel. Nobody's talking about that. There were fuel everywhere. Nobody went into any filling station. There was no queue. There was no strike. So we should give kudos to the government. That is a step ahead. This is what I'm saying. So you are not appraising government on that. You want to criticize immediately that there's a speculation that there's going to be an increment. A government that is working tirelessly to see how Port Harcourt can produce. I will not be part of that criticism.
All right, we should stay positive.
Stay positive, yes.
All right, let's hope that yields the desired result. Thank you so much, Mr. Duke, for coming. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, my brother.
All right.